So since my Addison's diagnosis, before I got diagnosed with Addison's, especially when I was a single parent and I was working like fucking crazy and dealing with Addison's, I was a fucking lunatic half of the time. My kids deserved a lot better. But since getting Addison's treatment, and I'm going to tell you something, no matter how fucking crazy I was, I still tried my goddamn best with my kids. I tried to give them the best life, the best education I possibly could. When they had a problem, I sat with them and, listened to them and tried to help them as much as I possibly could. When they were in trouble, I dropped everything to go get them. But let me tell you a little bit about my abusive behavior, in these last several years. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how I insisted that my husband wake me up no matter what was going on or how sick I was or how much sleep I got or didn't get. I told him to wake me up and give me a kiss and hug goodbye before he left every single morning for work. My daughter was in trouble in Texas. I was sick as fuck, and you know what I did? I immediately got in my car and drove down to Texas. I gathered up my shit within an hour. She called me up. She was in trouble down there, and she didn't have a reliable way to get to a a train station or an airport. She couldn't rely on her brother to fucking take her there even if I were to book a flight for her. So I immediately got in my car and drove down to Texas and got my kid. Yeah. Not to mention all the times I brought her food to work. Not to mention all the times I drove her to work and picked her up. Washed her clothes, folded them up nicely. Fucking the million fucking little things I did for my family every day. There are countless examples of how much I loved and cared for my family. I showed that in my actions. Let's talk about the $600 a month that I paid in tuition for my daughter's college education. Let's talk about that. So she wouldn't have to get another fucking loan. Let's talk about that. I could go on and fucking on. Let's talk about how I would make sure that my family took their vitamins. I would even stick them in my husband's mouth because he was bad about taking his vitamins. I could go on and fucking on and on for hours. Which I would not be doing. I would never fucking say anything like that. I would never even say anything like that or even talk about this if it wasn't for these motherfuckers trying to smear me. Let's talk about how I was faithful to my husband our entire marriage. Let's talk about that. Despite his rampant adultery, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how it was below zero, well below zero air temperature. I'm not talking about wind chill. And I get a call in the middle of the night. My kid's downtown Chicago and she's stranded. Guess what? Dropped everything, got in the car, and fucking got her. Okay? You're fighting a losing battle. All of your claims can be easily disproven, easily, and I've done that, and I will continue to. I'm not saying I'm the fucking best person in the world. I'm not saying I'm the best parent in the world. I'm not saying I'm the best wife in the world. I'm not saying I never made any mistakes. But I can honestly say that I love my family. I loved my husband. I love my children. So, yeah, fuck off.